Muscarelle in the house. Virtual art camp. Do not attempt to adjust your computer screen because we are in there. Hey folks, my name is Steve Prince and I'm the Director of Engagement at the Muscarelle Museum at William and Mary. Hey folks, we have a wonderful show lined up for you today. Today we're going to continue our exploration in drawing. Today I'm going to work with an everyday object and show you all the steps of how to take something that appears to be somewhat complex and find the simplicity that lies underneath. And then I'm going to take it an extra step. I'm going to show you how to cartoonize it. Oh, are you ready for this? Oh, come on, folks. Let's get your materials out. Let's get ready to have some fun. So what we need is you're going to need pencil number 2 or softer. You're going to need paper of any size, and you're going to need an eraser. All right? Come on, folks. Let's get it going. Let's get it on. Let's get our supplies in place and get ready to draw. And our object in which we're going to work with today, something very simple. Perhaps, I think pretty much every one of us uses it every single day. And that object is a fork. All right. So I'm going to show you how to make a drawing of this object, this pretty simple object that is existing in space. And I'm going to show you how to break it down and how to go about going through step by step. So the first thing you need to establish is that the fork occupies a space. And if you were to break it down to the most basic shape that it may be, you might notice that that whole shape, that a space that it occupies, might read as a rectangle or a very skinny rectangle. So I'm going to draw that shape onto my paper. And remember, lock the wrist and during this particular portion and draw really lightly as you begin to build this form. So that's one side of our rectangle and this is the other side of our rectangular space. And what you're going to work with is pretty skinny and long. And then we're going to cap off the top and we'll cap off the bottom. Okay? So that's the first way that I would begin to structurally approach making this fork that's in space. The next thing I would do in terms of determining how to make this structure is I will pull a line right down the middle. So lock your wrist and pull it straight down. Use your full arm action in order to make this happen. Okay? So that's step 2. The next thing I'm going to begin to determine is that it has a head portion and it has a neck and it has a body that drops down. We want to pay attention to all the aspects of it. That is skinnier at the bottom, it's wider through his body, and it gets a little skinnier at the neck and it gets wider at the head and it comes up and it slightly tapers at the top. So those are some subtleties that you have to pay attention to when you're trying to make a drawing of an object. So I'm going to figure out where at the top, where this top portion exists, and I'm going to figure it's about right here, okay? And so that space will begin to give me the top portion. So I'm going to define the head by making this kind of U-like shape, just like that. I drew straight through the object, okay? Just drew straight through. And then right off that, I'm able to pull off of that curve and begin to define one side of the fork and coming down towards the bottom where it kind of tapers off at the bottom. And then I'm going to determine on the other side and get one sense of the width right here and then pick up and it bows as it goes down towards the bottom, down towards the base of the structure. Okay? So you see how I'm just starting to work that in. All right? Then you'll notice that sometimes when you're drawing, you might have exaggerated something a little too much, and you can adjust it a little bit later. So I can make that a little narrower if I got a little too wide with it. So you can make those adjustments. Remember, drawing and using an eraser is to make adjustments. It's not worrying about making mistakes. The next thing I'm going to begin to do is begin to determine where the teeth are at. And so the teeth are kind of stopping right around here. And then I can start to count them off. So it's 1, and there's 2, and there's 3, and there's 4 teeth. Then I want to go back and come up, and notice the teeth get narrower as they get to the top, and they get wider as they come to the bottom. As it comes in between, there's a little curve that comes around. It goes up, fatter to the bottom, skinnier towards the top, come back down, round it up, come back down and round it up, and then come back on the side and round it around. So you see how I created those different steps? And so you can go back and accentuate those lines. Accentuate basically means to make darker. And so I'm gonna make that a little darker, pull it up, and just cleaning it up. Just cleaning up the fork and make it look nice and clean, and making sure those pieces are regulated, okay? That's very, very important. So now I'm gonna darken that line, coming around up here around the neck, and there's like a little ridge line on top, and there's a little ridge line on top up here, and dropping down. And I noticed that I made this a little too wide, so I'm gonna go back and clean that up and make it a little bit narrower. Come down straight to the bottom. And that quickly, folks, you have a fork. But you notice that I started first off by building a rectangle shape. So that rectangle shape that I built here, that gave me the space that it occupies. Then that next key step that I did is I broke that rectangle down the middle. That's very key, because I know that if we pull a line straight down the middle, that side is equal to the opposite side. It's about understanding how structures are put together. That's a key thing in terms of drawing. So let us move to step 2 of our project. So I'm gonna take down my fork. I'm gonna turn over to a new piece of paper that I have already prepared for us. And let's put our fork back into place. And this time we're gonna take it an extra step. We're gonna look at how could we begin to cartoonize this fork and make it into some kind of character. We'll call the character Forkman. All right, so we're gonna make Forkman. So one thing is that the Forkman has the head structure that comes up here, and I'm gonna get up here. This is where the head will be. And I got the head round and around. And then I gotta have the body come through for Forkman. And then I'm gonna have one leg come over here, and I'm gonna have the other leg come over here. So I'm gonna take the bottom part of the fork and I'm gonna cut it down the middle and break it up so it can have some legs come off of it. And then I'll have one hand come up over here and one hand go over here. And one arm goes in the opposite direction. So this is gonna be the making of our Forkman. All right, so now we gotta begin to give our Forkman some character space. So we're gonna begin to build his eyes. And so we gotta make Forkman look really mean, all right? And so we're gonna build one eye come over here and one eye here like a U shape, just like that. And he's got to be not only mean, but he's got to be a little crazy, like, just like that. And so we'll build an eye structure in here, and we'll build another little eye structure in here, and then we'll build like an eyebrow, make him look really deranged and crazy. Forkman, he's coming to eat all of your food. All right, so pull it around just like this. And so now we got his eyes kind of worked in. All right, I'm going to eat all your food off of your plate. And so let's give Forkman a kind of a wild, kind of crazy nose, just like that, long and floppy. And let's give Forkman a strange mouth and a strange grin on his face. All right. All right, he had a rough childhood. All right, so pull it around here, and we got to pull his chin. And then, so pull it around here, pull it on up, and we're gonna add a little piece over here and a little piece over here. And that could be begin of Forkman's character. And so we know that he has 4 teeth coming off of there. So let's do something with them. Let's push them around, and let's make the fork almost come to life like they're like Medusa, like snakes for hair, kind of like, and curving. Oh yeah, see how that looks really cool? Forkman, coming to eat your dinner. All right, so Forkman, and those things like all come into life, and we'll put a few little dashes and a few little dashes around in there, and let's add a little bit more of a crinkle in this forehead up in here, and wrap his eye. Let's clean it up a little bit more. Let's make that a little bit more accentuated, a little bit more accentuated. Come around here, side of his face, and let's get those lines a little sharper. Okay, that's just gonna make it that much better. All right, so Forkman coming down into his body right here, and so we got to give Forkman a costume, and so we'll build one arm come up, and then we'll make a fist up here. Boom and boom, and then we'll make one finger and two fingers and three fingers makes four, and we'll come around into his body. Oh, Forkman looking really strong. And then again, remember this line is acting as like your skeleton, so that you can build like the shoulder, and build like the bicep, build like the forearm, build the tricep, build the forearm, and then we'll build the fist. And again, this is another way. One, I just built it like finger by finger, but you also can make like a circle formation here, and then you come in here and begin to build the structure like a thumb. You see it? Okay. And then we can come up here and build one finger, and two fingers, and three fingers, and then boom, three fingers make four. And so you have it that quick. And inside you can put a little bit of shadow inside of here, and a little shadow inside of here, just like that. And then Forkman, we gotta get the rest of his body come across here. And we're gonna put some shorts on him. And so that's like the wrap of his belt. And let's give him like a sleeve, come around here, and then wrap a little line right here to act as like a sleeve. And then we need to give him a collar, so wrap that around. And so he has a little bit of a collar on his shirt. So yeah, Forkman is coming along. Oh, he's evil. He keeps eating everybody's dinner. What's wrong with him? All right, so pull it across here like that. And then you're gonna give him some shorts. Boom, and pull it across, and pull it across, and boom. Wrap it around. So you see I've made a space of where his leg could fall. And so that would be his knee. And that will be like the shape of his knee. You can kind of round it. That's his shin. And let's give him some shoes. Boom. That's 1 foot. And then come over here and build him a calf muscle. Build him a knee. Pull it up around his thigh. Wrap the rest of his shorts, make it dark inside, dark inside, dark inside, dark inside. That'll make those legs stand out some more. And let's get the rest of his shin right around his ankle. And we'll add his opposing shoe. All right, oh, he's coming together. And so he needs a letter on his chest for Forkman. And we put an F on him. Oh, Forkman needs a cape too. All right, and so we'll add a cape. And so one of the things I like to do with adding the cape is start off by really kind of a light line, pull it around, and pull it on a little side over here. And then once you get that shape worked in, you can pull it up, pull it down, pull it around like that, pull it up, and then wrap it around to the other side. Now the other part of his cape will be kind of behind him so you won't see it. So we need to put a little shadow back there inside the cape. And I'm using what is called a crosshatch line. So I'm building some of these out, making a little bit more contrast directly behind our character. That'll make the cape stand out. Put a little bit of darkness right here because it's overlapping. And you can begin to see how the cape works its way into the design. And so we have the really wild looking character, Cape Man. And let's give Cape Man a few teeth. Let's pull it around. And let's darken his mouth inside right there. Yes. And Forkman, I say Cape Man. Forkman, you pull that around. And then you got that around in here. Then wrap his bottom of his eye right there and wrap it on in. And right there, folks, we have our character. And so we can put a little bit of a background in here. And oh, good. And another thing we can add in here is like a plate right here. And this is where some of your food would be. And we'll have some little kernels of corn on the plate or something like that, or some rice or something like that. And he's coming to get your food. And then we can add a little glass in the back right here and add it around. And oh, do not let Forkman take your food and eat it all. You need your food. We can put a straw inside of it, pull it right on out like that. And let's put a bendy straw. And let's add it in just like that. Oh yes, don't let Forkman take your food. Oh, never let him do it. And so we can add in here Forkman and the F. and the O, and the R. And what's the next letter? That's correct, the K. Very good. Y'all spell so well. And then we need an M. And we need an A. And we need an N. Forkman. Do not let Forkman steal your dinner. Okay? So folks, remember, and never forget, art is all around you. Muscarelle in the house. Virtual Art Camp